I have been sailing now on cruise ships for over 70 days. It's crazy to think about that, but in that time, I have come up with 10 ways to keep me stress-free with my cruise vacation. I'm going to share them with you today. Hi everyone, Rob from Cruise Sea-kers, and today we are going to talk about how to have a stress-free cruise vacation. Any vacation can be stressful, especially if you're the one planning. I'm going to teach you 10 ways to make sure when you go on your cruise vacation, how you can be stress-free by doing these 10 simple steps. So let's get into these 10 tips to make your cruise trip stress-free. But before we do, I would like to do a quick invitation to everybody out there who has not subscribed yet to this channel to please think about subscribing to this channel. If you do, hit that little notification bell on. It's free. If you like information about cruising, about cruise tips, about ships, about all sorts of things revolving around cruise ships and cruise vacations, think about subscribing. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give a comment down below. Thanks in advance. All right, let's get into this now, okay? So the most important thing to do if you want to have a stress-free cruise vacation is to make sure you get to the port at least please 1 day in advance, preferably 2 days in advance in today's current climate. So we all know the airlines right now are having a heck of a time just trying to get people from point A to point B on time. There's so many cancellations going on because of cruise shortages, for all sorts of reasons. You know, they completely revamped their networks during COVID, and they're just trying to catch up right now. Hiring is tough right now at airports. There's a lot of things that are just making things very difficult to get from point A to point B. And if you're not driving to your cruise port, getting to there is difficult. Even if you're driving, try to get there a day before. It's just so much more relaxing. There's going to be another reason why you want to get there a day before later on in this video. So just stay tuned and you'll hear that reason why as well. But yeah, think about getting there at least 1 day before. It will make your life so much easier. And since we're on the topic of, getting to the cruise port a day earlier, a lot of people also stress about getting home to after your cruise. You don't want that stress. Make sure you at least give yourself 4 hours when you're going to be getting off the ship to get to the airport if you're flying out that same day. All right, number 2, make sure you have all your documents printed as well as on your electronic device. Now, I know we all live in today's modern world, and we are so attached to our electronic devices. We rely on it so heavily. But sometimes technology has the oddest ways of causing problems when you least expect it or when you need it the most. I don't know if there's like a little gremlin in there or what have you. It just seems to be at the most inappropriate times. That's when technology fails you because, who knows? You forgot to plug in your phone the night before and your battery died, right? Just at the time you were checking in. It always happens. I've seen it happen. The other thing is like you were taking your Uber and you forgot your phone in the Uber. I've seen that happen before too. Just make sure you get those printed documents. It's a nice backup just in case Murphy decides to pay a visit to you. Another thing I would like to give as a tip, it's a general information type of tip, but it's something that I think it's really important to know is make sure you understand exactly what you need to board your ship. And you get that information from the governing source, not from a Facebook group, not from, your friends that are going on the cruise with you. Make sure you personally understand what you need in order to get on your ship. I always recommend people to go to their cruise line's website to get the information that they need. Now, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to call the cruise line. They will give you good information. If you're going with a travel agent, you can call your travel agent. But again, even your travel agent can make mistakes. And I'll tell you one thing, the boarding agent at the cruise port doesn't care what your travel agent told you. They don't care. Just remember, it's on you. It's not on your travel agent. It's not on anybody else. It's on you to make sure you know what you need to get onto that ship. And here's another little interesting tip that I love to give to people when they're traveling on a cruise ship and it's either their first time or even the second time, even third time. I tell people all the time, everybody in your party, bring one carry-on piece of luggage on your trip. all the time. Bags are being lost all the time nowadays with the airlines. It has your medications, it has your important documentation, it has a change of clothing, it has your toiletries, it has your medicines, all those things that are very, very important to you to kind of just get by if, God forbid, the worst thing happens, right? You have another change of clothes. It's also a nice little tip too for when you are on vacation and you get everything. It's nice to have that bag with you because you can even throw in a bathing suit in there because that will allow you to get on the ship, eat your lunch, then go get changed, put your bathing suit on, relax in the sun, get into the vacation vibes immediately. Let the stress start leaving you immediately. And then you can even get on lines for like the water park rides because you know what? The lines are going to be even smaller on that day because people are going to be waiting for their luggage. And you had at least your bathing suit with you. And now you can just enjoy the rides without the stress of long lines, those type of things. Again, it's really, really nice to have that one piece of carry-on luggage with you to do this type of thing because it just makes things so much easier. And if your luggage takes some time to get to your cabin, you at least have your change of clothes for the evening too, so that you can, get into your evening wear. You're not wearing the same clothes that you travel to the port with. It's just nice to have. It's a good thing to have. It gets you in the right mood for vacation. Big one for me, a big tip that I always tell people: if you want to really reduce your stress levels on vacation, and it might not happen all the time, but it will be a huge stress reduction if you ever really need it, is buy travel insurance. The day you wish you had travel insurance is the day you needed travel insurance. You don't want to be in the situation where you need that travel insurance and you don't have it because you're going to have a lot of stress. It will give you that peace of mind, right? In case things get hectic at the airport, lost luggage, cancellations of flights, those things will be covered with your travel insurance. And if you happen to have a medical issue when you're on the ship, it's not cheap to go to the medical area on the ship. It's just not. It's pretty expensive. It's nice to know that travel insurance will cover those type of things if it's needed. One of the biggest stresses a lot of people have when they're on cruises is that settlement bill at the end of the cruise. You don't want that stress. So I always recommend to people to get their gratuities prepaid so you don't have that $14.50 per person per night charge on that bill. Right away, that's going to rack up $200 on that settlement bill. If you're thinking about doing some specialty dining, thinking about some drinks when you're on board, think about the different packages that you can purchase pre-cruise. Not only do you save money from the pre-cruise purchasing, but it also reduces that end of cruise settlement bill. Alrighty, now let's talk about some things what you can do as you're boarding to kind of reduce some of your cruise stress. When you have the opportunity, either when you just get immediately on board the ship, find a nice quiet area and book your reservations ahead of time. And if you happen to be one of those people that got to the cruise port earlier because you stayed over the night before and you got an early boarding time to get on your ship, a lot of times you're going to be waiting in a waiting area before they allow people to get onto the ship. So once they get zero count from the prior cruise, then they start allowing other people from the new cruise to come on. So you might be waiting in the waiting area for to get on your ship. And during that time, you might be able to connect to your ship's Wi-Fi. And as you're waiting, you can start reserving your shows because you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. It's a great way to kind of get that out of your way. You don't have to worry about reservations at all. And another thing what you want to do to kind of reduce that day of cruise stress, a lot of people do travel with birth certificate and driver's license. That, my friends, is going to add some stress to your vacation. If at all possible, please get a passport before you go on your cruise. I know it takes some time, but do it. I know it costs some money, but do it. It's a good way to reduce your stress. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, in a lot of new ports, they are using facial recognition if you do have a passport, and it will make your disembarkation off the cruise ship so much smoother if you have a passport. When you get on the ship, it's so much easier just to hand a passport versus your birth certificate, your driver's license. They got to match things up. The passport is quick. It's easy. You'll get through that embarkation boarding line so much faster with a passport. And finally, I don't like to say this, but some people do miss their cruise when they are at port and they are stranded at a port of call. If you've traveled with a birth certificate and a driver's license, it's going to be infinitely harder for you to get home because it's impossible to get onto an international flight without a passport. You're going to have to go to your consulate. You're going to have to go through this huge rigmarole to try to get back home. So if you have a passport, it makes things so much easier. Another thing I like to give as a good tip to kind of reduce stress with cruising is use that mobile app that the cruise lines have created. It's a great way to just plan your time on the ship. You can heart little things to say, this is something I want to go to, this is what I want to go to, this is what I want to go to, this is what I want to go to. You'll get notifications when those things happen. You don't have to keep on flipping through a piece of paper. So the cruise planner is there for you. It's in a handheld device. And I know we all want to disconnect when we're on the ship. Fine, disconnect. Just stay on the ship's Wi-Fi and just use the device as a planner that's in your pocket. You get notifications when things are going. You can also get all your reservations done through the mobile app. You don't have to wait at kiosks or lines to reserve specialty dining or to worry about going on another line to make your dinner reservations at the main dining room. It's something you just want to do because who wants to sit on lines? I think standing on lines is one of the most stressful things in the world, and who wants that? Don't do it. Just use the mobile app. It's a good thing to have. And even on some lines, you can order drinks from your mobile app, and then they will find you wherever you are on the ship and bring that drink to you. You don't have to even wave down people to come and get your drinks. It's a nice thing to have. Who needs to worry about that? Use the mobile app. Now, hopefully this last tip is going to be going away soon, but we're still in the time where some people are going to have to take COVID-19 tests before they can get on their ships. So if you are in one of those situations where you do need a COVID-19 test in order to board, I always recommend people to have a backup plan in case your original plan to get tested falls through. It does happen. You do not want to be caught in a situation where you have your CVS or Walgreens appointment and then all of a sudden, the day before you go to your test, you get an email saying, sorry, but we're going to be canceling all our testing. Maybe they ran out of tests. Maybe for some reason they decided to stop doing rapid tests. You have no clue what could happen. It happens. I've seen it happen before. Have a backup plan if your original plan to get tested falls through. A lot of times I like to use the self-proctor test as a backup, especially if I can go to a CVS or a Walgreens for a free test. That's a nice thing to have. Have that backup proctor test just in case Walgreens or CVS falls through and you don't have to scramble trying to find another place to get an appointment. And if your primary test concept was to use the proctored self-administered tests, then make sure you at least have a second one available for you, because sometimes those tests are voided for some reason. You dropped something, or for some reason the test comes back as invalid. You don't want to risk that. I only had one. What am I going to do now? So there you go, folks. Those are my cruise tips to make sure you have a stress-free cruise vacation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have a good tip as well to reduce stress on your cruise vacation. So until next time we talk, this is Rob from Cruise Seekers, reminding every one of you always to seek the seas. Bye now.